सूरज की पहली किरण के साथ दिन की शुरुआत कीजिए। सुबह का मंगल प्रभात आपको शुभ हो। सुबह सुबह हो खुशियों का मेला, ना लोगों की परवाह ना दुनिया का झमेला। पंछियों का संगीत हो और मौसम अलबेला। मुबारक हो आपको ये खूबसूरत सवेरा। हर सोमवार से लेकर शुक्रवार तक सुबह 6 से लेकर 9 बजे तक शामिल रहें रेडियो FBCTV पर हम सफर में रविंद्र सिंह के साथ।
Oh, kayak boro-boro cuma tahu kami ngani temamu. Gua nggak usah nih lah nangani temamu. Nimbula, ayo Mr. Ben.
Ella ba?
Na magkikiro manolo kinedyo na mata ka moni chicken na fangarumbuka.
Na Bula FM. Na Madua and Selling.
Tonight, PM challenges businesses in light of new constitution. Politicians warned in lead up to elections. And RFMF denies claims by unionists of harassment. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and you're watching FBC News. An Accountability and Transparency Commission has been established under the new constitution to encourage businesses to up their game. Speaking at the opening of the Certified Practicing Accountants Congress in Nandi this morning, Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama said this is a first for Fiji. Akosita Tale has the story.
The commission is aimed at encouraging businesses to step up to government's commitment to be more liable and responsible in contributing to the economy. This will see all businesses subjected to a new code of conduct to be strictly enforced.
We want the same transparency and accountability in the private sector. That means an end to the shady deal, the nod and a wink, and you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours mentality that has long been a feature of too much of Fijian commercial life.
This does not end here. Bainimarama says other reforms are expected to be implemented soon.
There is still much corruption, too much tax evasion, too much waste. Business still labors under far too much red tape. Some of our trade unionists still haven't grasped the reality of 21st century labor relations.
The CPA Annual Congress is the 5th one organized for its members.
This Congress provides you with a great platform to meet and build relationships with others across a broad cross-section of industries, tapping into the opportunities that they might create for you.
The two-day Congress sees a range of innovative thinkers from a variety of business backgrounds share skills needed to take advantage of the ever-changing world. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama has reiterated that he will contest next year's elections and will form a political party to do so. While opening the CPA Annual Congress in Nandi today, Bainimarama said before September 30th, 2014, he will subject himself to the nation's will under the provisions of the new constitution. Bainimarama said he will form a political party and his party will subject itself to the collective will of the 540,000 or so Fijians who have already registered for the elections.
We will fight a battle of ideas with our opponents who were offered a briefing on the Constitution yesterday and didn't show up. That contest will be free and fair, and we will stand on our record on the many reforms we still plan for Fiji.
Bainimarama says he will launch the new party when he is ready. He had first announced in March that he would contest the elections. Politicians are forewarned that contesting the next elections will not be the same as the past, as new laws will be in place. Mika Longa reports that gone are the days where politicians can switch parties if there are disagreements within the party he or she is a member of.
Major amendment is
An aspiring politician must first achieve 5% of the total number of votes cast for each political party to secure a seat in the new 50-seat parliament. And if the member is disciplined by his own political party for acting against it, he or she can't cross the floor to further advance his or her political career.
the 1997 constitution allowed that the person, if they were expelled from their party in terms of losing their seat, as you know, the very famous case of Kenneth Zink crossing the floor And then he took a judicial review of that. It kind of languished in the courts to say, look, we had told...
The new 2013 constitution only provides for the member to contest the validity of the decision in the High Court within 7 days.
If a person challenges it, he is then deemed to be suspended until the decision being made. And also now, the court must give a ruling within 21 days, and that decision is final.
The soon-to-become supreme law of the land has also stated that salaries for politicians will depend on how the economy is performing at the time.
Countries like Singapore, the ministers and members of parliament, in particular ministers, are paid according to how well the economy does. If the economy does not do well, there is a reduction in the benefits they receive.
The president is to announce the election date 60 days before the country goes to the polls.
Of course, it can be called 90 days before. Writs for the first election of members of parliament under this constitution shall be issued by the president on the advice of the prime minister, and the writ shall be issued at least 44 days before the date of the election.
Aspiring politicians have until 30 days before the date of election to confirm their nominations as candidate in order to contest in the national polls. Mikalonga, FBC News.
The public has 2 weeks to give their feedback on the translated versions of the 2013 Constitution. On September 6th, President Ratuepeli Nailatika will give his assent to the Constitution, and it will become the supreme law of the land. Roland Karoy takes us through some of the provisions of the Constitution.
This is Fiji's fourth constitution, and the Bainimarama government firmly believes that it will be Fiji's last. The new constitution does stipulate, however, that any amendments to the new 2013 constitution should have the support of 3/4 of the members of parliament and 3/4 of the registered voters. The constitution contains specific provisions that guarantee and strengthen the protection of communally owned Itoke, Rutuman and Banaban lands. It also has, for the first time, an extra provision that gives any landowner the right to a fair share of royalties derived from the exploitation of resources beneath the surface. It also paves the way for elections by September 30th next year, conducted for the first time on the basis of equal votes of equal value. The new constitution has also broadened the interpretation of the law on right to equality and freedom from discrimination. It now also protects marital status and pregnancy. The rights and interests of lessees and tenants are also protected. All ownership of land and all rights and interest in land, including land tenancies and leases that existed, shall continue to exist under the 2013 Constitution. Some of the other major provisions in the new Constitution are a common and equal citizenry, a secular state and religious liberty, an independent and impartial judiciary and equal access to the law, the right to legal aid assistance, specific recognition of the culture and language of Indo-Fijians, other Pacific Islanders and other immigrants and settlers, a Bill of Rights containing specific provisions guaranteeing a range of civil and political rights, and for the first time, social and economic rights. These include the right to education, economic participation, a just minimum wage, transport, housing, food and water, health and social security, a free media and freedom of expression, freedom of speech, movement and association, and the safeguarding of the environment. Roland Karoy, FBC News.
The Fiji Military Forces denies reports that its personnel threaten members of the Fiji Sugar and General Workers Union who have voted to go on strike. A statement by the FSGWU claims that military officers have been visiting the Lautoka sugar mill. Union General Secretary Felix Anthony said 2 truckloads of officers went to inspect the mill last Wednesday. He claims workers have been warned that they would not be allowed to return to work and would be dealt with by the military should they go on strike. Speaking to New Zealand-based Radio Tarana, Military Commander Colonel Mosese Tikoitonga said the military in Fiji is for the security of the nation.
It is not intimidating the strikers, it is not intimidating the union, it is trying to protect government's investment in the Fiji Sugar Corporation, which it has done quite a lot for in the last couple of years, and also protect the economic and the security well-being of the people that depend on the sugar industry.
Union members voted to go on strike, claiming a recent 5.3% pay rise announced by the FSC will not meet the basic daily needs of the workers. Just ahead, Hibiscus Queen contestants briefed on Duavata initiative.
join us on The Breakfast Show.
Every weekday from Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. right here on Today FM.
That's right.
Bula. Oya wasala bilawa. Do pata kia o mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single level ni moniti kina vagaromboka. Kako ni valatana no musini sari na kaisa moriando loloma lene vani ni nau. Omgori ke de mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single level ni moniti kina vagaromboka na Bula FM number 2 en sere.
Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. A nightclub bouncer charged with the murder of a Solomon Islander reappeared in the Suva High Court this afternoon. Kameli Mbola is alleged to have punched Colin Maypara outside Liquid's nightclub in Suva earlier this month. The FNU student died later in hospital. Judge Justice Salesi Temo adjourned the case to the 13th of next month after the state lawyer asked for 2 more weeks to file disclosures and information to the court. Mbola has been remanded in custody. The Fiji Intelligence Property Office says retailers of pirated DVDs are not bothered about the total content of what they're downloading and selling to consumers. FIPO Chief Enforcement Officer Terence O'Neill says this is a great concern which they hope retailers will start addressing. Shireen Lata reports.
Terence O'Neill says often unwanted materials such as pornographic or rated ads, pop-ups and links get copied onto DVDs without the retailer having any knowledge.
They cannot show explicit sexual content. It has to be rated. Yet they have to show a film, they have to have it rated. You can go around the corner, you can buy the same film. Not rated. There's no control at all.
The Fiji Intelligence Property Office has received a number of cases where pornographic materials were sold to consumers.
So a lady came in last week from Ratuman. She was coming here for an operation, and she came in to see me, and she was very, very upset, disturbed. She'd gone into a shop in Nambua, and she'd bought 2 children's DVDs, pirated ones. One was a 3-in-1, so 3 films in one. And she was watching, I think it was Scooby-Doo was one of them. And she was watching the middle film on the 3-in-1 with the children. And then suddenly, right in the middle, were these really disgusting, absolutely disgusting pornographic images.
They are now taking this matter seriously, and those found distributing pornographic materials through pirated DVDs will be dealt with. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
The Fiji Police Force is urging everyone to be part of the Ndovata community policing program to create a safe environment. This was the message relayed to the 16 Hibiscus Festival Queen contestants at a briefing today. Vosita Kotewasawasa reports.
Despite the introduction of the Ndovata community policing model, police continue to face challenges in the fight against crime.
Violence against children and women. That is our concern. 2, abuse, child abuse. The 3rd one, substance abuse. And the 4th one, domestic violence.
Mahesh Mishra says they are concerned that the victims of such situations are weak and cannot defend themselves.
These are the victims of the crime. These are the people who have been either victimized or they become the victim that are not been known.
Ndovata policing model author Dr. Eddie Nambalarua challenged the Queen contestants to take up the cause in their quest.
We would like you to champion the Ndovata cause because we believe that safety and security of individuals, of families, of communities, of the nation that we are a part of is all of our business.
Nambalarua went on to emphasize that the model can only be a success if everybody came together to play their part in the fight against crime and violence. Vosita Kotewasawasa, FBC News.
And Jamie joins us now with sports, and I overheard something earlier about a cake.
What? Are you hungry already, Jackie?
No, it's right here in the rundown. Ratu Epeli disappointed with BOG cake there.
I know. I'm just joking with you. Yes, there is a mention of a cake and a carving knife coming up in sports. It may have been a nice gesture, but the president has pointed out that this is not a good example. We'll have the details after the break.
Bula, I'm Wame. Join me every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on The Center Show with classic hits from the 70s as well as the 80s right here on Gold FM.
आपकी शादी होने वाली है, 5 बच्चे होंगे। 5 हाय, मैं हूँ आपकी सहेली रेनू। सुनते रहिए मिर्ची एफएम। मैं हूँ ना 9 से 12 बजे तक।
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The stage is set for the Digicel Cup Rugby final at Lawanga Park in Singatoka tomorrow. At the press briefing today, it was only Nandunga present as Suva have decided to keep a low profile. As Interesting reports, the mind games will all be put to rest when the dust settles tomorrow afternoon.
One battle won already as Nandunga was the only team to show up for a press meeting today in the build-up to the Digicel Cup final. The Stallions, despite arriving late in the capital, were present to lay the challenge for Suva, which is already in Singatoka and decided to keep a low profile. However, this hasn't put any false conceptions in the minds of the defending champions.
As the boys are preparing well, as I've said, and we are not going in as champions. What we've done in the past is not what we'll take tomorrow. We are treating Suva as a champion team. We'll do our best tomorrow. And the result of the game tomorrow will depend on who does his best tomorrow.
Coupled with this, some other knows there will be another factor backing them at Lawanga Park.
The supporters will give us the urge tomorrow to play well and do our best tomorrow.
Even the sponsors are gearing up for the biggest rugby battle of the year to date.
No doubt they're dying to hit the field. And no doubt as well that Nandunga, even though they've topped the table, that will mean nothing to them. It's all about tomorrow for both teams.
And one former rep who has played in such games expects nothing short than a thriller.
So happy for the two teams that are in the finals, the Suva and the Nandunga teams. Always good to see a Western and an Eastern team in the finals.
The stage is set for two rivals to go head-on. Who adds this piece of ware to their cabinet will be known by this time tomorrow. Interesting, FBC Sports.
It's been an action-packed 4 days for Kachi rugby players and fans at the ANZ Stadium in Lavala Bay. Victors walked away with titles. For others, it was a great way to spend their holidays. The competition comes to an end this evening, but one side in particular hope their performance will boost their senior side in tomorrow's Digicel Cup finale. Chalin Daudakadaka reports.
Many will agree that rugby looks to be on the right track. After witnessing the action at the Milo Kachi rugby competition, one team has gone further and hopes to inspire their big brothers, the outrigger on the Lagoon Nandunga side, in their Digicel Cup final encounter tomorrow.
We have been updating them with the results since the first game on Tuesday, and then I'm sure it has been well received by the players, and it's also been part of their pep talk, I believe, from Tiko Matawalu, as he came and told us that.
Teams have come from all corners of the country to be a part of this tournament. While only the victors are rewarded with trophies in the various age categories, one team received a helping hand towards their rugby program. Sportsworld and Courts stepped in to aid in Lotoka's rugby development for next year's tournament.
The main reason behind this sponsorship is to develop Rugby Kachi into Lotoka, and actually we have found that actually if we have to start some promotion and development, then it has to be from the grassroots level. So this has actually inspired us to get this sponsorship deal signed off between Sportsworld and Courts.
The outstanding display put on by the junior ruggers is a clear indication of where rugby stands in the country, a positive sign for the future of the sport. Chalendo Dakadaka, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, Suva dominated the finals in the age grade this afternoon. Madhawata and Nandi were the only other teams to win finals in the under-9 and under-11 grade respectively. Suva took out the under-10, 12, 13 and under-14 grade finals. Team Fiji, bound for the Pacific Mini Games in Wallace and Fortuna, presented their itatau to the President Ratu Epeli Nailatikau this morning at Government House. Ratu Epeli laid down the challenge to the athletes to perform better than they train. Shalvin Chand has more.
A little over a week remains for the Pacific Mini Games. This morning, Team Fiji was challenged by the president as they went to tell the head of state that the team was ready for the Mini Games.
I don't have any doubt that you are well prepared for that. But preparation is one thing. Performance on the field is a different matter, and you know that.
Pacific Mini Games chef de mission, Alini Sovu, says she has confidence in the team.
Of experience and developed athletes that we are taking through, and with the preparation phase that we've done, we're confident that all the athletes that are representing the country, Tualas and Fortuna, will bring glory.
For Sprint King Banuve Tambakaudoro, the Mini Games presents a chance to stamp his mark as the fastest man in the Pacific.
Wilder is a 10:53 in the 100, so that's my season's best. So yeah, that's definitely what I'm trying to do right now, just trying to improve the times and, run fast at the Mini Games.
108 athletes from Fiji will be in Wallis and Futuna from September 2nd to compete in 8 different sports in the Pacific Mini Games. Shalvin Chan, FBC Sports.
Now to that cake Jackie mentioned earlier, President Ratu Epeli Nailatikau has asked Fasanok to question Fiji Football Association as to why a carving knife was allowed onto the pitch after Mbaa won the BOG finals last weekend. To celebrate Bar defender Meli Dhonro's birthday, Bar officials brought out a cake along with a carving knife and placed it in the middle of the football field. This didn't go down well with the head of state, who said it was a good final, but the cake and knife incident had spoiled it. He added that items such as a carving knife should never be allowed onto the pitch for safety reasons.
And there, officials were mute, including the police. And they delayed the ceremony just for that. I don't know whose birthday it was. Doesn't worry. But you don't do those kind of things, because it gives a bad impression to young people. And that's one thing that should be looked at.
Meanwhile, Suva and Nasinu have stamped their mark on the 2013 National Netball Championships in the capital. In the major grade, Suva thumped Naita Siri 62-7 and accounted for Lautoka 39-12. Nasinu beat Lautoka 44-16 and were too good for Nabosa, winning 46-12. The Suva B and under-21 teams also look strong, while Nasinu are also looking promising in the 2 grades. Games continue tomorrow with the finals in the afternoon. Well, that's it from sports for me tonight. I'll be back on Monday. Until then, have a safe weekend. Good evening.
The Biosecurity Authority of Fiji has resumed the export of Amaranthus spp, locally known as Tumbua or Choraya leaves, to New Zealand this week. Export of Choraya leaves was temporarily suspended by BAF earlier this month after the insect thrips palmy was intercepted in a consignment to New Zealand. BAF Acting Chief Executive Officer Matai Matakitonga says the reinstatement of the Fiji's Choraya export to New Zealand is good news for farmers and exporters, adding that he hoped they would take advantage of the opportunity and start exporting soon. According to Matakitonga, temporary suspension of Choraya exports was a standard precautionary measure taken by BAF to allow it to conduct its own audit of the Choraya export pathway and ensure corrective measures are put in place. It's weather time, and Jen, hopefully it doesn't rain since we're busy with the float tonight.
Well, Jackie, I've got news for you. According to the lovely people at the weather office, we're going to have thunderstorms. Yes, the fine conditions during the day were too good to be true, as rainy weather will prevail in Suva and the north. There's still a chill in the air for those of us in the capital, 27 degrees. Bau's the coldest on the chart, though, coming in at 26. Mombasa has it warmer than everyone else at 31 degrees. Now, if like us at FBC, you're busy with float preparations, keep in mind that it just might rain tomorrow afternoon. Can't do much, it is hibiscus weather after all. The west looks set to enjoy sunny conditions again this weekend, with rain also forecast for Savusavu and Lombasa. Snap, snap, yep, it's photo time. Photographer Navneet was at the Suva foreshore today and got this on camera. And I hope I pronounced this correctly, but the Veitawanga, otherwise known as the traditional canoe race. How about we take part next year, Jackie?
Nice thought, Genevieve, very nice thought. The headlines again. PM challenges businesses in light of new constitution. Politicians warned in lead up to elections, and RFMF denies claims of harassment by unionists. Time for this week's poll question, and we're asking, are there new faces shaping Fiji's political scene? To answer, visit our FBC website www.fbc.com.fj. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. That's news for tonight. I'll be back on Monday. Until then, have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Good night.
Nimbula, methangu nimilote na isoro tumboa. Nama kia umina rua kina ona na veka vi moniti kina vaka rombuka. Rongo mena via sana kina viva ka baro takini ndreko malolo. Ena Radio Fiji One na wongani via niano. Ngai nama kia kina.
जहाँ हो प्यार का बसेरा और रिश्तों की खुशबू, वो है आपका अपना घर संसार. Join me on Ghar Sansar, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. only on Radio Fiji 2.